It is just a matter of time before Bitcoin revisits the $70,000 range. No, this is not what you want to hear, but honestly, I do think this is in the cards. Now, I'm not telling you to sell all your alts right now. What we're going to talk about in this video is why I think Bitcoin could revisit the 70-ish thousand range, and more importantly, how you can navigate this so you don't lose all of your bags. But before we get started, welcome back to the channel. My name's Doc. Throughout the day, I'm a resident physician, and at night, I take you guys on my crypto and investing journey. I do not mean to make this video to FUD. That is not my intention at all, but I do want to make sure that we are being as judicious with your guys' money as possible, right? And we got a wild week ahead of us, right? We have an absolute wild week ahead of us. Right now, Bitcoin, it's sitting right around $83,000, 83,100. I have this on the 1 hour chart because I'm monitoring this little push up that we have. It's late Monday night into Tuesday morning. And the reason that I want to make this video is to put on your radar why I think it is possible that we could potentially revisit the $70,000 range. And specifically, I think if we were to hit the 70,000s, it would be high 70s, right? I don't think we're going to go back and retest, the low 70,000, but I wouldn't be surprised if we wicked in to that $70,000 range. Most importantly, guys, stay towards the end of the video because I'm going to let you guys know how to navigate this and do this in a stress-free way, and that you guys can actually add to your bags by doing this. Also, if you're getting any value out of this, consider hitting the like button, subscribe. Okay, so Bitcoin right now it's at 83,000. You're probably thinking Doc, why could this happen? Everything feels good. We're getting a nice little bump up. Well, I think I don't need to remind you that we have some big things happening this week, right? So tomorrow we have some JOLTS data, right? That's the job openings data. We're obviously going to be watching that, but Wednesday is what Trump is calling the Liberation Day, right? This is when all these reciprocal tariffs go into effect. You might hear some folks say, hey, this is a sell the news event, or you might be hearing some people say, hey, this is already priced in. Guys, this is so important. I'm going to go through a thread here in a second that lets you know why this could be really, it actually could turn out to be pretty bad, right? So this is what's happening on Wednesday, the tariffs. And then the big thing is Friday is we have a jobs report on Friday, right? So we're going to be watching this. And then the big one is Papa Powell, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he's speaking on Friday, right? So we got a lot of big things happening this week. And you're probably thinking, oh, okay, Doc, are you saying that we could go in the 70s just because of these tariffs? No, not entirely, right? We're going to talk about it all in a second. Quickly, though, let's just look at the crypto bubbles. This is on the daily chart. Curve is absolutely flying. We're going to talk more about this because I actually put a short in on it. And then Walrus has absolutely been ripping to Hyperliquid flying up 10%. Jupe, I was kind of surprised, down 10% on this. I know they had some new unlocks coming out, so curious what's going on there. Other big news, and I just want to talk about this really quick before we talk about why the market could fall back in the 70s. I thought this was kind of cool. Eric and Donald Jr. Trump, they are actually partnering with HUD-8 to form their own Bitcoin mining company. And I really did think that they are putting their money where their mouth is in a lot of different ways, right? These folks think that Bitcoin could go to $13 million in our lifetime, right? They have similar views as Michael Saylor. So I thought this was cool. They are taking a 20% stake in HUD-8. They're kind of partnering with their data company. So I thought this was cool, a bullish sign. The other big thing, I haven't really seen anybody talking about this, is the FDIC says banks can engage in crypto activities without any prior approval. For those who have been here since 2023, this was a big deal because we did not have a lot of guidance on this. This further just moves the crypto narrative forward, makes it more mainstream. I actually thought this was really big, and I think this will help a lot of money flow in once market sentiment turns around, because we are not there yet. So we talked about some things that are happening this week. Guys, I want to go through this post by the Kobisi letter. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. I thought, yeah, I am following these guys. We're going to go through this whole thread because there is some nuggets in here. Don't let this confuse you. This is really easy. I'm going to make it super easy to digest. So pretty much what this chart is showing here is that we have this uncertainty index, right? They just have a fancy way that they can measure uncertainty. And this is 25% the original Trump trade wars in his prior election, right? they're also showing like, hey, the S&P is down 10% in 6 weeks. And you might be thinking like, 10% pullbacks in the market. This happens all the time. You are correct. This does happen all the time, but it does not happen at the speed at which this one has, right? This has happened over 6 weeks. The last big 10% correction that we had occurred over several months. So the speed at which this is falling is really, really interesting, right? So here they're talking about, how the S&P hit a new all-time high on February 19th. And this was right around $6,100, right? Then we had this really big sell-off because Trump said that, hey, he's not watching the market. This is also when he announced his 25% auto, all right, the vehicle tariffs. And we kind of went back into this correction, right? He goes on to further say, right, he also threatened these really, really big tariffs on Russian oil and anybody who buys Russian oil, right? So that's a ton of folks. 25 to 50%. That's really big. He also made, and this was just this weekend, a comment about bombing Iran. So this kind of spooked markets as well. This is not why I think Bitcoin could fall down to the 70s. We're getting there, I promise, right? So then he's saying, hey, we could have broader and higher tariffs. So that's on April 2nd, right? So it's April 1st right now, right? No, by the way, this video is not an April Fool's joke. I actually do think Bitcoin could retest high 70s. So he's talking about all these tariffs. Okay, that's great. This was really wild. This uncertainty index, guys, this is higher than what it was in 2008 during the financial crisis. So if we look at this, this was the financial crisis right here. We are way above that, right? We're way, way above that with all these Trump talks. We're just as high, if not higher, than the uncertainty with the COVID pandemic, right? So it just kind of shows this. It goes to show that like there's a ton of uncertainty, and that's why we've had this drop off in the S&P and Dow, right? So okay, these people, they were shorting the market. So what's coming next, right? According to Barclays, Trump is set to impose potential tariffs on 25 new countries on Wednesdays, right? So the interesting thing is they're saying most, not all of that, is already priced in. That is not surprising, right? If we actually just look up the SPY, right? This is the S&P 500. If we just look this up, like this is on the daily chart, this is why we've had this correction, right? This is already priced in. So we're not super concerned about that, right? Sentiment is kind of right? They're saying sentiment has collapsed in a lot of ways. This is what concerns me, right? This right here. So they're saying, yes, however, they believe these tariffs are priced in. What they don't think, or what they think the market is underpricing, is the effects. Gosh, of course, I'm just jumping all over the place. Is the effects of the reciprocal tariffs placed on the US, right? So if these big tariffs go into effect, right, we're expecting that the EU, oh my gosh, this is like the third time I've accidentally hit that. We're expecting the EU and Mexico to put tariffs on us on the same day, April 3rd. So if you guys thought sentiment was bad because Trump is like flirting with all these different ideas of tariffs, and maybe flirting isn't the right word, right? Because I know we originally thought like, oh, this is just a negotiating tactic. Well, here they are. Guys, sentiment would absolutely break through the floor if big countries started putting tariffs on us, right? So they're saying if tariffs threatened by the EU, that would put pressure of $600 billion on us, right? 600 billion. That would lower the US's GDP by 70 basis points. So that's pretty big. And here they go on to talk a little bit farther about stagflation, right? So for those who aren't aware, stagflation is horrible, right? It's when inflation is really high, but also GDP is falling, right? So you can't really lower rates to increase GDP because inflation's already high. This is really important, okay? This chart right here is really, really important. This is the stagflation chart. And this is why if this happens, Bitcoin could legitimately fall down to the 70,000s, right? So here we are looking at, right, all of this fear with the stock market falling down, but also recessions going high, right? So higher interest rates will send us into a recession, while lowest interest rates build on rising inflation. So it's kind of like this lose-lose situation right now. We really much need a a sentiment change, right? So we have these inflation expectations. but then consumer confidence is really, really shitting the bed. So guys, this is put out by like a very reputable newsletter. They have almost 1 million followers. A lot of big crypto KOLs follow these guys. I do think that I want to be like really clear. Actually, I'm going to save this to the end of the video. So I want to show you 2 more things, and then I promise we'll get there. This is Curve. I was talking about this earlier. I put a short on this, and I put a pretty significant amount of money on it. So I put this in the Discord. If you guys are looking for updates, feel free to join. It's completely free. We have nothing to sell you. Link is going to be down below. If you're looking to join a group of rock solid folks who are trying to collectively do well in this crypto market, I think this Discord is for you. And again, we have nothing to sell you. So if you're interested in putting in leverage trades, my BTCC link is also going to be down below. You get a 10% bonus on first-time deposits. Plus, you can get up to 40% lower trading fees with my link down below. So they are a partner of the channel. If you use that link, it helps me out. I personally love them because it's no KYC, no VPN, right? I don't got to give them any of my own info. I can put these kind of like pretty gnarly shorts in, and I don't have to worry about like them having my info. Last but not least, this is me on YouTube, InvestWithDoc. Really, really appreciate all of your guys' support. Again, if you guys are getting any value out of this, consider hitting the like button, subscribe, and comment down below where you think this is going to go. Okay, so my whole thought, if you stayed this long, was if Trump puts these, like, if he just goes wild with all these tariffs on the 3rd, or this, excuse me, the 2nd, which is Wednesday, it's going to be bad. Now, that could create like this negative feedback loop, because if he does that and then we get hit with reciprocal tariffs, that's where market sentiment is going to absolutely shit the bed. Excuse my language, but I think it could be really bad if that happens. But if you think about it, like, I wouldn't be all that surprised if that happens. And here's why. Trump realizes interest rates have to come down for the market to start ripping again, right? It's 2025 right now. Midterm elections are the end of 2026. So he's fine kind of making a mess of the market in the short term with the thought process of, hey, the market goes down. He's even said this himself, right? He's like, I'm not even looking at the stock market right now. So he kind of understands like, hey, there needs to be some pain before things can get better, right? That's why he's like threatening tariffs. He's like making these comments that he's going to like bomb Iran. He's doing this, in my opinion, very purposely. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows it's going to rattle markets. He's been in the market for decades, right? So yes, like, he does make these provocative comments. I think he's doing them on purpose. Now, I'm just a guy. I don't know Trump, right? Obviously, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think he very much understands what he's doing. The other thing is, if he doesn't understand what he's doing, he has really, really smart, important people around him who do know what they're doing. So that doesn't mean that it's not uncomfortable, right? It sucks. Like, I want the tariffs talk and all this stuff to end just like everybody else so we can get back to kind of crypto flying, right? Long term, I am very bullish on crypto. I think we just kind of got to navigate kind of this weird time until market sentiment changes. Okay, so this is me kind of ranting. Those are my thoughts. This is what I want you to prepare for. Again, not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing. If Trump says, hey, we're putting tariffs on all these folks and countries start putting tariffs on us, I'm going to be buying the dip. I'm DCAing slowly and surely. All these people are saying like, oh my gosh, Doc, should I buy Link? Should I buy Say? Should I buy Sui? And they kind of think of it as this black and white. It's okay for you to just DCA in over time. Like, if the price goes down, that's okay. Just DCA more, right? So that's what I'm doing. Not financial advice. This video is going on longer than I thought it would. If you got any value out of this, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. Where do you think Bitcoin's going? And I'll see you guys on my next video.